Hi, hello everyone. Welcome back to another live stream of Angular Spotify. And actually now there's a live stream on the Angular Vietnam by by my friend Joe. But I mean I start the time at 10 a.m. so I have to leave the other live stream. Then I need to start this one. Yeah. So basically, today we will continue building the itis detail page and last week we off, and I just want to take like after 4 week continuously building the Spotify, just take 1 week off last week. So today we will just continue and yeah, just maybe let me share the screen real quick. Share the screen. So also for your information, yesterday I was been to Angular Air and also talk about the Spotify. So let me just send you the link. Is it this one? Yep. So yesterday was quite late at night. That's why uh, I also wake up late in the morning today. Yeah. So we talked about Angular Spotify yesterday. So I'll just put the link in the comment. Let me give it Angular. It was like just few hours ago actually. And yep. So what we are going to build today was if you go to spotify.com, or you can go into the source code in the click button on the right side, and you can find a link here. I can send it to you, but I think it's familiar to you anyway. So the idea is like at the moment when you click into a song, it will show you the the album detail, and because all of that is like there's one song inside one album. So basically, um, there's more. So but technically when you click, for example, I just take the some of the songs that I like, and you go into this in Atia part 2, you will see there's a few more songs within an album. And what we are going to do today is like we will select the artist name, and it will pop up the artist detail. And yeah, that is the target for today. For the design, actually, I didn't really prepare for today. And hi, we have Krishna and hi, Krishna. Morning. I think it's is it evening for you? So thanks for joining. Uh, Hi, Bao. Yeah, I wanted to say I wanted to speak in Vietnamese, but I hope that English is not a barrier for you to get a knowledge. So there's two choice, and you just go into the Angular of Vietnam, you find a lot of Vietnamese content, or you stick with me and try to improve your English a bit. I think for the long run, it is going to be very helpful when you can understand and you can speak in English, because I mean in the next 10 year and 20 year, I when you go out on the street, I think a lot of people can speak English. So just improve it, and it will be benefit for you as well. Sorry, I I chose to speak English in the beginning, so I just cannot skip it. I just cannot have the one in the middle where I speak Vietnamese. But of course, I can do it for you guys. But anyway, yeah. So for anyone who have just joined, the idea for today is that we click into an ATIS, and it should technically show the detail. Actually, what does the detail look like? Because I also didn't prepare, so let's look into the Spotify application then. So let's say I click into this. Again, let's do the same playlist and click into no, not deep place. This post rock. That is my favorite kind of music. You click into inspirative here. So wow, it's look difficult then. So the one on top was like there's a cover photo. Let me open it more. There you can see there's this cover thing, which is maybe easy. Of course, I think it's easy, and all of that look like it's just the presentation. So should not be difficult to build. There's the play button, and you can do the following. But I think we will skip the following for now. This one we're gonna skip it, and and then we need to show the top popular song for my artist. This one maybe we just skip for now. I like 26 song. I'm not sure if I have data, but we see how. So we will just focus on that part. This one on top, maybe we will not do like exactly the same. Like it's not like one clone, so it's not going to be the same exactly. But I think you get the idea. We just try to show the itis, the name, the monthly listener. We see how, and we try to display the list of popular song. And I think with that we can end the live stream today a bit. All of this popular release and album, we can do it maybe next week because as my experience in the past few live stream, we just cannot fit everything within just one live stream for an hour, which is difficult. I mean, writing code itself maybe, but when we are talking and we are looking into each other, it's not like that. I need to give you some kind of explanation, and I hope it's good. So let's look into the first thing. Is like okay, so today we're like doing everything from scratch. In the past few live stream, I was preparing the API endpoint so that when we start to build the feature, I just need to go in and plug it. But today, I think we need to prepare for it. So there's a web API reference from Spotify, and if you look into the ITIS, there's a of course we have the API to get the ITIS detail. That is first thing, and we can get the top track, which is what we need to build the thing. This one, the top track, this one, and there's a get ITIS album as well, which means that you can fetch all of the album, this one, from one from ITIS, and with that, I think that's it. They didn't have a lot of API then. There has the get ITIS related ITIS, which is something at the end where we can display the similar kind of music thing from the same. So yeah, I think we have enough data to display. So maybe let's start with just setting up the endpoint, and yeah, let's go into the code. I need to check out the branch, so I should do check out dash b. I just okay. So dash b is like just check out a current branch and then just create a new branch with this name. So just so you know, if you're not familiar with the command, so I just close it and I just collapse all of this. I think we need to go into the okay. So there's a few things I was doing for the live stream with Angular Air yesterday. So I just let me remove some of them. It's just some example that what you can do with a mono repo. And so let's look into the share maybe. We'll have the data access and then there's API. So we have album API, we have browse API, player, playlist, Spotify, and we don't have itis. So let's add the itis API then. So is good. Is it good enough? I mean, if you cannot see the text on the screen, just let me know. Because if I zoom it too big, then it's also difficult on my side because I don't have a very high resolution screen. So it's not like 4K and stuff. It's just normal 1080. So let's do itis API.ts. Then I mean, usually you can do a schematic, but I'll just do it and then I has the itis service. I can change it quickly. You know. So I just call it this API service. Actually, let's look into the album. And I usually forgot because it been a week I didn't touch the code base. So I hope you understand. So we need to inject the config because in the config, I has the base URL. So for Spotify, actually, this base URL is going to be the same because I always talking to the same endpoint on the server, which is, let me see, where is it using? So in the token, we have it. So there's a value provider, and then we need to look for it. So basically, the app config is like, it is an insertion token. And we need to do a new injection token with this type, because you just give it a type and then you try to inject it into the constructor. It just doesn't work because it is just a type, it's not a value. So it need to have at least a key to stick with it. So that's why we need to do an injection token. And then um, when we has the app config, we need to provide it on the module, on the application. So what I do is like I will use this get app config provider. Then I was look for it in the app module. So the provider will basically take a value from outside, which probably look like the app config, because we were doing the injection token for the app config. And then I will just put in the same thing. So I was putting in the environment data because there could be a different endpoint for different environments. So that's why we have environment and environment production. For now, it's going to be the same, but in your application is going to be different, because of course you have staging environment, you have production environment. So the base URL here for you is going to be different. But for me, I'm just talking to the same endpoint. That's why you see the base URL is just the same. And when we do this provider, it will has the data somewhere so that you can inject it into this constructor like what I am doing here. So I just do inject and then I will put in the app config. And because the app config is an injection token, so that it can find inside the injection tree to look for the value of this token. And then when it can resolve it, which means I have the value at the end. So okay, let me just copy this thing over. Yeah, not sure if this is gonna work because like I mentioned okay, so index is fine, app config probably is fine. We need this app config as well, and it just doesn't auto import, so I need to do control command dot to grab it. And then we need HTTP client from the Angular common HTTP. So now we have the config. So the next thing is just basically just adding the endpoint, and we first need an itis. So we need to look into this itis, and this is going to be open Spotify API, no API Spotify v1, and then slash itis, and then slash id. So probably what I need to do is I just do a get itis, or depends. You can do just get by id because the service is already named itis, so you can just do get by id, and then and somewhere else you just do itis service dot get by id. But in some use case, I mean, depend. It is just a naming convention thing, so it's really up to you. What do you want? So let me look into the how do I do it? How did I do it with the album? So I still call it with get by id, and sometimes it's get track and get user save album. So I also not very consistent, so feel free to adapt what you need to do. So maybe we just do get album by ID here to make the thing look consistent, right? Get album by ID. Oh, actually, because we just do a get album is enough, because the album here is basically it's just a singular now. So which means there's only you are trying to get only one album. So just do get album, and I think we are good then. Save it. And I will do the same for itis, so that we will not be very it's not very consistent. So do guys itis then, and I'll do the itis id, which is the string, and obviously I need to return something. This http dot get. Of course, it's going to be get, because you're just getting data from server. You don't do anything else. So you do this dot app config, and then dot by URL. So that you has the URL from the app config, and then you just append the thing at the end. So it's itis, and then you pass in the ID. So itis ID, and it needs to give back the type, right? So it needs to be in the type of something. So when we look into the rest and itis, it is gonna be an itis detail, I would say. So it's gonna look like, I'll say, Spotify API. So this Spotify API is the um, the typing that I was installing. Oh, now has a good question. I'll answer it to you. But yeah, just do an itis object full. I think it's when you getting that itis is going to be the full object, because simplify object is going to be used in album and in playlist. But when you try to get the detail, it is going to be a full. So I'm just assuming it's going to be the full object. And let me also put in the top track, and then I will answer the question from now. Press itis top track. Same. We do itis ID. Yeah, we need the ID. And then we also need to do this get from the same itis slash ID and then slash top track. So it is very similar. So I just copy it and just put slash top track. Okay. And the thing here, it should not be the artist object full anymore. It needs to be the top track. So it is the track thing. Okay, it probably is the paginated object then, because no, maybe not. So what it is? Maybe let me try. Sortify dot top track. Okay. So it is top track response. I think it's basically just a wrapper of the. Okay, so there's a track property inside, and then just there's a list of track, which is easy, so we can just use it later on. Yeah. So now we have the two endpoint, and then yeah, that is it's good for now. We can use it. Okay. Sorry. So there's again itis and itis top track, and we just passing the base URL, and then you just having this I think have the response time that we putting into the type back. So okay, now is the time to answer the question. Hi now. So why don't you use the interceptor with base URL? And actually, it's a good suggestion. I didn't thought about it. So I do the interceptor, but the interceptor that I did was like just to attach the token. So I think that's, I'll say, I forgot the name. Is it Auth or the, let's search for interceptor. So that's the Auth interceptor. And this Auth interceptor is basically just take the token from the store, and then if there's token, no, I'll just putting in the header with the authorization with the beer token, and that's it. And like Nam mentioned, actually we can inject the thing. We can inject the, like we can do private, and then we do the app config inside the interceptor, and then we just plug in the base URL, which is a good suggestion. I didn't think about it. Thanks now. Yeah, maybe we can do it. But for now, maybe just stick with the O so that everywhere is look consistent. But yeah, I think it's a good suggestion. I just don't really do it because in my previous Angular job, I was like, it was like there's a client side within the server side application. So when I do any API code, I doesn't really need to specify the base URL at all. I'll just do something like start with a slash, and it understand it is starting from the origin, and that's it, because everything was inside the same URL anyway. So yeah, I just never really do it, but I think it's a good suggestion for now, not that in the future. So I want to change endpoint environment. Just you change the endpoint in the production mode. I only change the endpoint in the environment object. Oh, environment.js is something else then. So environment.js is more like you dynamically load some kind of JSON file, I think, is it? So this was more like you, yeah, that's true. So you wanted to fetch the metadata for your client from a JSON file, so that when you wanted to make any change in this config, you don't want to rebuild the whole client side, then you can do something like now mentioned. So we can have an environment.json somewhere, and then you can have the base URL, and then with that base URL, you can just fetch from the server, and then you plug it into the same service, and then if you need to change it, you just need to change the JSON file, and that's it. And you don't really have to rebuild the whole application. And I think in the previous company we also do it, but at that time I was on the vacation, so my colleagues will handle that, and I know he did it, but I just never really look into the code. But I think I get the idea. Thanks now. So he say I inject the thing into the window environment. Yeah, yeah, okay. I think I get the idea. So maybe next time we will have Nam to share a bit on some of this project, and it's good to also have people to share about your experience. So if you have anything interesting to say, feel free to just message me on Twitter maybe, so we can arrange a live stream so that we can talk about stuff together. Thanks. Yeah, so let's get back to the itis. So now we have the API. So the next thing we need to do was like to basically just fetch the data and then display it on the UI. So let's look into so we have the API. So we need to open itis. So in the itis, and now there's only one feature, which is the one that you see here. So the feature was like, on the itis, I haven't have a row to display the list of itis, which means like the list of itis from like your favorite or something like this. Usually you will have something like you click into itis, and then it's display the list of itis like an array of something. But I don't have it for now. So at the moment, I will only do the detail, which is when you click into a Japan, it starts to display the full itis, and that is what we are trying to build today. Oh, that is different then. So for each Japan, with the verified itis, they display it a bit different. So when I click into my another itis, it look a bit different. So the component on top here, it need to be supply some kind of metadata so that it can change, or you need to render different component based on some piece of information, I think. Yeah, but for now we can just do one UI, and then if we see that we have more data come in, we can also adapt to make it look different based on the data. Yeah, so maybe first thing we should try to do something like that, and it's gonna take some time already. It's not gonna look so beautiful in the beginning, so I hope that's fine. So look into the itis component then. So now I just display an iframe, and I display the work in progress thing. So for now, I'll just remove the first iframe, and then everything. Okay, let's bring it into template then, so that we can just remove the whole thing later on. So do ngn template. It's been a long time I didn't really do Angular, so sorry if I was forgetting any syntax, but I just do work in progress template. So here I just do, this is one of my favorite. Why is the stuff is so big? Oh, space is, it was weird. Space, so it's gonna be 2. Why? It is so big. Very shame. So just do ng container, and then you can do ng template outlet, right? Something like that. Yeah. And then just put in work in progress, and here just put the same thing. So that you can just collapse it, and then you need to remove it. You just remove this line. That's it. So everything now we've been put on top of the thing. So technically we need to have data store, and let me see how I did it for the album. Sorry, like I mentioned, I didn't really do it for some time. So in the album store, like I mentioned, we also need to take the ID out from the router. That's the first thing. We need to see if the album is currently loading, so that we can display the proper, either the skeleton or another spinner, so that the the user is gonna aware of that we are communicating with the server, and then I'll just do this album and then do load album. And the load album is basically do some kind of effect, and then do the param. And if there's something else, we just set the status to be loading, and then we take the data from the API and just pass into the component store. Because as you can see, all of the data in the IT space is basically it's gonna use only for the IT space. So we might not need to introduce a global state management for that unless you wanted to cache it. So you need something to cache the IT information. But for inside the context of this page, you will see when you click into an itis and then it's loaded. So if we have the cache data, the cache data, the cache or cache whatever cache, I think cache, the cache data you can just take from the memory. But if you don't have it, you need to go to the server and ask for it. So the easiest when I start to build it, I'll just to go directly to the server, and then I will start to introduce a cache, and it will save some time, especially during the stream. So the album I was doing the same thing, which means that you click into an album. I mean, not this, that. Anyway, there's a PWA version of Angular Spotify. So if you haven't check it out, there's a okay. I'll show you later on. But basically, it's gonna look like a desktop app more like a web app. So when you click album, this one, this is new album from some of the young boy band in Vietnam. Pretty okay, pretty good. So when I go into this page, I start to load all the data. So for the album, it's easy because um, the info is only inside one API code. When I have the data from server, which means I had everything. So it is easy. That's why I was storing everything inside a component store. And for itis, I think for now we can just go ahead with the component store approach. So just um, let me start to create a data access library then. So just generate an UI and then do Angular library. Okay. So we call it data access. And here we just do the access as normal. And inside the web/itis, and it's not buildable. I mean, buildable is like something I think you wanted to share or publish to npm or something. I never tried it, so maybe I didn't get it right. And the lazy here we don't really need because it's data access. So the prefix I just try to put AS, but data access usually there's no component, so we don't really care about it. And then I think the last one was just try to put it as strict, and then we need to put the type here, which is the data access. And then the scope here is just a web. So that if you introduce a mobile app scope, you cannot just import directly this data access into the mobile app. And yeah, this one we need to do some configuration, but this is going to be easy. So just click run. See? Project name already exists. Yeah, okay, it's here. So it's already having, but for some reason the thing was complaining. Okay. So now I have the data access for the itis. So I will just go ahead and introduce the itis store. Oh, okay. I think I forgot to put the simple name then. So there's a web itis. Usually I don't really like it. So just doesn't really matter. But I should do the simple module name. So inside here we also need to change it. Okay, it's hot when I turn off the air console. So in the data asset module, we actually doesn't really we don't really need anything for the module actually. It just needs to be something like in the data set you just need some index file, and I think I forgot. So Maybe it's not even need to be an Angular um, library, because it just need to be a node library, and that's fine. But anyway, we created it anyway, so let's do it. Go back to the data set, just remove this thing. I think I just introduce something new to go install, and then inside the store I just do the artist. Let's do it. Store. Yes. And then inside store, just maybe in the future we need something else, so I'll just do an index.ts inside. Then I will just export out of it, because there's nothing we're exporting from the source, so that was complaining, but that is okay. So we just do this index. So we just do list/store. Okay, so now it is a time where we need to build this itis store, and it is basically just a service that is extending the component store. But okay, I forgot how it's look. We own human, so uh, forgetting code is fine, I think. So it's going to be just a store that extend the component store, and then what you need to do is basically just put in the state, and the state is like I have the generic state that, if you remember, that is gonna just has the data, what is the status, and then if there's any error, that is the generic state look like. So let's get back to the IT store. We need to do one. No, it's not IFC. To do another service. And then I'll just do the, it's not provided in root, yeah, because it is component store, so it is going to be provided in the component itself. Oh, okay, just a, okay, so icon now is on. And yeah, like I mentioned, the album, the itis song, itis song. So it is not going to be injected in the root. So we only wanted to provide it inside the itis component itself. And we has AC here, that is Alien from Singapore. So hi, thanks for joining. And I hope you have a great Saturday morning so far. Thanks for joining us very early with Singapore. So now let me open it. Yeah, I just keep forgetting the code. Like, okay, need to do it on the second screen. Like. So maybe we just do it together. That's how I do it. Actually, that's how I do it. I mean, if I do it like over and over, and within a week, maybe I will remember it. But when I just keep, doing it this week, and then another 2 weeks, I need to do the similar thing. What I do was I just open side by side, and then I'll just look into what I did before, and I hope that that is fine. It's like I just couldn't remember everything, and I think that is okay, But at least the first example that you build, it need to be good enough so that you can reference in the future. Otherwise, if the first one were not that great, then you just keep following this pattern, It might not be great eventually when you need to refactoring the code. So what I say is copy and paste, or following the pattern is really like normal. But at least make sure that your standard and your first example is good enough so that you can just keep referring. But if it's not good enough for the first time, it is fine. We've been realized after we do a few times. So, but don't do it like 20 in 20 places, and then you wanted to refactor with the with the previous standard, which is not a great idea, I think. Yeah, just saying. So just extend the generic state. And I think yeah, we need to import it. Then that is just still something very annoying. So let me see. We need index. So we need to use the Spotify something, Spotify API, and then it just doesn't work out of the box when we create a new library. So I need to go into the, what is it? TS config leave. Okay, just remove this type. This empty array type is like causing problem. So we need to remove it, and then usually need to restart the TS server so that it will pick up the type from node module. Okay, so now I can use it. So the itis store is like we can have two component store. I think it's technically fine. So you have the first one, which is the itis store. The second one is probably the itis top track store. So this two store is making um, the um, the itis component, because otherwise, okay, I'll show you how. So itis full object first. I need to import this, but there's no suggestion, so I need to just do it manually, and then it's going to be from English Spotify share data access. No, module then share. Oh well, like when I stop typing it again, it's just so annoying. Angular Spotify, and then share, and then module. Yes, no, yeah, it looks fine, no. Oh, okay. So it's just not that simple. It needs to be a component store of something. Store that, and then we need to import it in. So if you are using WebStorm, yeah, I think it's better comparing to using VS Code or any workspace. Yes, so now we have the itis store, which is extending from the component store, so that we can reusing some of the functionality. And then the data of the component store is something like, it is going to be a generic state of this one, but usually we will need something else. So we maybe just create a new thing we call itis state, and then we just extend it. Because here it is just an interface, so I can extend an interface, which is easy. You cannot do like a class to extend an interface, which is not possible. But the class only can implement an interface, but interface can obviously can extend interface. So inside we just put in the itis ID, because we might need it. So here we just press in the itis store state. Yeah, that's fine. So on the constructor, you need to do a super, basically saying when the thing is initialized, what is the default value of this itis state. And then what I do is just put in empty object. And then because the empty object, it will require a few key. That's why I was just putting in this tie. Is it not tie inference? No, is it tie inference? Yeah, I forgot the name for it, but I think you got the idea. So the same thing for the album store. We need to take out the itis ID on the URL, which is this one. This ID from the URL, so that we can just use it ID and then send it to the server and get data. So let's do it first. And store. Okay. Basically, I just do it, and technically we can extract this thing into a function then. Okay, but for now, I'll just copy it over. I hope you understand. It's just a demonstration purpose. Of course, we can always make the code better, but for now, so we need to have a activated raw to get the param, and then we need this raw until. But for now, we cannot do it. One of this is also doesn't work. Somehow it only work with low-dash operation. So the easiest thing I would suggest would just copy it over, and then I just remove the one that I have. Yes. Oh, that's it. And then I'll just inject the raw, which is the activated raw. It used to work very fine, but then when I start to restart TS, it seems like it's not working. Oh. Yeah, it just still doesn't work. Actually, let me if I restart it, how does it look then? Because it used to work like you see when we do the first thing, it looked really fine. Not sure why. So let me try again. Because without like auto importing, it's just so weird. Even having a lot of okay. It doesn't work. It just doesn't like my Visual Studio Code. Okay, so we have activated round now, and we need to change the name. So it needs to be an itis ID, and here it needs to be also itis ID, and here the same. The filter, actually you don't really have to do this album and then do this negate thing. You can just passing in the one Boolean thing, the famous Boolean thing. Okay, doesn't work. That's weird. Oh, it's unknown then. Okay, okay, because Boolean here, it just doesn't say anything. Okay, so we still need it then. But okay, because it's observable, so we need it. It's not like a normal array thing. Okay, so just do it like this ID. Of it, and then now we check if it's the current. Actually, we don't really have to say it current because when we are inside the same view, it is the itis detail, and it's just do is itis loading maybe, yeah. And then I'll just do this is loading, which is util from. I check if the status is equal to loading, because if you just keep repeating, it's like instead of doing true and util, and you do it all the time, do state, and then it is gonna be, if one day you wanted to change it to loading with a big L, then it's difficult to find and replace it. So that's why I will extract it out into a util, so that you just passing in a function, and it will just take the state and then it will just filtering the loading thing for you. So now we have it, and we need to actually do a job, which is to call it, like to load the itis. Right. The load itis is basically here. It needs to be an effect because we are communicating the server. So it needs to be an effect, and then when we initialize the component, we can just straight away call this load itis thing, and it is going to be very similar to what I did with the album. Let me look it back. So there's a function called load album, and it's the basically an effect that we take in an album ID as a param, and then this param is gonna return an observable param, and then based on this param, you will start to do the source. You can based on this param source, you can start to do all of the piping, and when you have the param which is emitting one value, I just start to patching the state, and then I merge it with the API. You can do all of this sweet map, or depends on your need, but I do merge map for now. But actually, of course, you can do sweet map and everything, and based on your situation. So merge map for now is fine, I think. So to save time, I'll just copy it over. But if you feel like we should write the code, then okay, so let's write code. I'll just follow it side by side, so that you can see what could go wrong when you write code. Then there need to be an effect, and this effect is need to take in some kind of param type. This one, so I will just do the same, and I'll just do itis ID, and then string. It need to be a string, and then this effect is like it need to what? It need to what? It will take in the no, that is okay. So it will take in the generator, which is basically a function to generate the observable. So okay, so we call it take in the generator, and then okay, I think we need to take the param out. So the param here is going to be an observable of this type, this ID string, and then actually we need to return it. So param dot type. Okay. Then we just do a tab, because when it comes in, we don't want it to map or anything. So I'll just do tab, and then if it's ever emitting a value, I just do patch state to update the data of this IT state thing. So I just patch state because the patch state will find, like, you can supply partial object, So you don't have to do the set state here is like you need to supply the whole state. So you need to do this three like how to say? I forgot the name. Yeah, sorry, it's like when talking to you guys, just keep forgetting them. This three dot to extracting out the thing. How does it called? This is a spread, the spread operator. So I will just do this spread state, and then I just set the status to to the loading. I think it's gonna be loading, and then the error is none because when you start to loading again, you just don't want to reset the loading state. And then when we have this pipe, and after the tab, we need to take the itis ID and actually go to the server and then get the data. Let's just do merge map here. And the first, okay, the object here is like, the object here is the object and has only one key. So we can destruct it by opening a parameters. Oh, we need to return something. So I should do it first. And then here, just extract the itis ID out. So it's like destructuring, it's called destructuring if you're not familiar. So here, so now we need to inject the itis ID thing in. And then we need to inject it and just bring the constructor maybe below that. Do it again. For some reason I was copy and paste wrongly. So I bring it down. I'll do private itis ID. I think we are not gonna be able to finish everything, but hopefully itis API service. See, that's how much time we were spending to do it. So just modify data access, share, access, modify API. Okay, because we haven't exported it yet. So let me format it. Edit. Yes, and then we need to open the itis API, and we need to export it out. So we need to export it in this index. Okay, so export it from the if/this API. Okay. So when you exported it, then we can import it from the itis store. So now it's look okay then. Yeah. And then no, it's not itis ID. Sorry, I was just very confusing on something. So when we do merge map, then we need to do this dot itis ID. Okay. Itis ID API. Yeah, itis API. Sorry, I was somehow get a very messy just now. So we do guess itis, and we'll just pass in the itis ID. Okay, then. And then need to pipe it so that we return the correct one. So let's look at the album store. So what we need to do is like when the itis is emitting the value and when it succeeds, which means that okay, so the tab response here is just an internal operator from ngI's component store to handle it when there's an error. So the observable just doesn't die because if you don't handling the inner observable when it's emitting an error, the whole chain is gonna just die. It just doesn't revoke again. So that's why we have this tab response. So it is like handle the thing in the same way with basically it's just enforce the error case. Otherwise we can forget it and we need to just handle the inner observable in case you are doing all of this higher thing. So it will not just dying and you will not really getting the data from it. So we do pipe and we do just tab response. And tab response basically there's taking two callback. The first one is there's a object was of the itis. The second callback is also mandatory was like the arrow function. So actually I just can copy it over. quickly. Yes, nice. So I just do this is itis instead of album. And now the data is succeed. And then the patch is like error. And then just show an error. I hope it's an error, but I never really test it. So hopefully it's gonna be an actual error. But if there's error, we can look into it later on. And then I think we have something wrong here. It's like we have additional. Okay. We have an extra parenthesis. So when we have the load album, a load itis thing, we need to code it somehow. And actually, let me look at how I did it before. So I was just okay. So the one I was doing was like I was trying to get an album, and by trying to get an album, I need the ID, and if I have the ID, I will just do two things. So I pass the state of the ID, so I can use it if I need it without requesting from the route again. And I will just call this load album, and then when the load album is finished, I will have some data in the album thing, and yeah, that's it. So we do the same then. So let's do this album. Oh no, this, but the idea is going to be the same. So do itis, then we have the itis ID param, right? And when it's come in, it's going to be itis ID, itis ID, and then here we pass the state of the itis ID, and then we load the itis, and then we just press in the itis ID, right? And when you switch it, it is like you just keep going back to this thing with different ID, and it just cancel the load, and then that's it. You got the latest thing. So if you hover into the itis, you see it could be an observable either an itis or it's none. It's have no no information at all. So yeah, I think we are pretty good to start to display something on the UI. And let's do it. Let's do it. Then okay, open the itis component. Okay, and then just put it the provider, which is to the itis store. So yeah, all of that is something is very manually, but we get it. We get used to it. You get used to it. I will just try the web store, but I just didn't really get used to all of the shortcut and keyboard and stuff. So I get back to VS Code, but yeah, if you have just started, maybe try web store better. So what? And Spotify, itis, web itis, and then data access. Yeah, nice. And then in the itis component, actually we don't need to do anything. We just need to do constructor. We just need to inject this thing. I will actually itis store, and then do itis store. Okay. Then here you need to have an itis, which is equal to this dot itis. Okay, it doesn't work here. So I need to do this itis store plus itis. That's it. So you had one, which is the any. Are you sure? You see here, it is an observable Spotify API. It is object full or none. So here's why is it any? Oh, that is interesting. Oh, still doesn't work. That is weird. I don't understand. So like you can see inside the store, right? We have this. This the itis here is with the type of observable. Either it is object full or none. So when you inject it and then you assign it out, it should be the same type. but it's any. Oh, that is interesting. Why? Let me look back into the album then. Maybe I need to specify the type, but should not. We don't really have to do it. Yeah, the album here I didn't really do anything, so let's see why is it using. Let's see, let's see. Sorry for that. I didn't also expecting it. So I need to get the feature detail. So yeah, it get the type correctly, which is weird because we're doing the same thing. Oh, what can go wrong? I still don't get it then. Anyone has any idea why this itis is any? Hmm. Look at the code again. So select the data. It has a type here, which is fine. But when we assign it in the component, it doesn't have the right type. I mean, I can force the type, but it's just unnecessary. So I can always copy the type over. But because we are know exactly we're doing so, it is not necessary. That's so weird. Let's try. What I say? I just want to see if so we don't really need to do use it. Oh, okay. We need to do this test lifting again. Let's see. For me, it is a weird problem. It just doesn't. It should not behave like that at all. Now it's fine, but if I remove it, of course, because it here is any. Oh, okay. Now it's working. Oh, that is weird. Oh, see, just now there's any, and then now it is getting the time. Wow. VS Code, come on, that is so weird. Yep, so I think we are good now. So we still have the itis, and okay, we can do the UI now. So the UI is going to be very simple, I think. But first of all, we need to open the this dot. Hold on. Need to do something here. Either you create your new component and you call it itis detail because um, we will have something like that, but it's for itis. So for the itis, the thing here is circle. The thing here is circle and and has the big name and just the monthly listener. So what should we do? We can use what I can use is like I can use the same component to display the cover photo because it is doing the best but like you do this padding bottom. I think you get the trick like we need to set the size of the image to be something like to be a one like to be a square. So that's why you do width 100% and then you do padding bottom 100%, which means it will take the 100% with the width and then you just keep adding. That's why you has the square. And what does it mean is that when you have a very slow network, it is much better than you have an image. So you click into my album. When you have this very slow network, oh, it's not very slow anymore. To browse, you see, when the image is not there, all of the shape of the component is still it's not shifting. So if you would like try to use the image tag to display, the initial is going to be very like very short and then it will expand when the image is loading. So that was the reason why I was trying like using this padding hack, which was like something in the past, but now we are not really use it anymore. So we can reuse the same thing, but we will make it border radius to make it a circle thing. So let me try. So I have this AS media cover. So if I do border radius, it's gonna work 50%. Yeah. Oh wow. So it's not very square then. Yeah. So when we do border radius, it look a bit weird on top. So the bottom look fine, but why? So the padding here should be like make it 1 1, no? Okay. So maybe we need to make it smaller. Ooh. We need to make the padding bottom reduce it a bit. Oh, okay, something like that. Oh, I didn't know. Wow. See, when we start to increase it, it doesn't look like a square anymore. It start to be, an ellipse, and yeah, it's not a square anymore. When we reduce it, the same. It also not square. So that is so weird. What with the itis? Not sure. Well, okay, maybe let's try. So I will do the same thing. I will. So we need to set the at least the width or the height for the image to be rendered, and then we need to use the media cover. The media cover will take in a boolean to say if you want to make it like circle or not, like rounded corner. And with that, we can start to display the one on the right side. And yeah, okay. Or easier. The easiest is that we just display this on the back. We just introduce a new thing. We call it itis, and then we the post drop here instead we will replace it with the itis name, and then the description. I don't know if they had any, but we can just don't pass anything, and it's gonna work. Maybe that is the easiest for the beginning. Yep. So let's go back do it. So let's go back into. I think we need to use the. Okay, let's open album. So if you open album component, you see the first. It's very simple. It is basically the media summary, and then you can put the type, you can put the title, you can put the itis. The itis here we don't have, so we can just don't pass anything, and then you need to pass the image URL. The track count here also doesn't really matter. So all of that we can just go in. Eh, yeah, and if we don't have the description, we just don't pass it in, and it will just not render it like this. It just doesn't render it. So okay, I think we can do it. So I do either with artist maybe. Okay. And then okay, we just need to import this media summary module into. So yeah, so at the end, all of the components will look very similar, but we will save some time to build the CSS because messing with the CSS when you like coding is I think it is not easy. Yeah. It's it's just taking a lot more time. So go into the this module to import it into the import array because of course it is where you import the thing and it doesn't like it, so we need to import it manually. Modify here. Yeah. Modify. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Okay. What's that? Okay. Yeah, okay, code was slow somehow. So, look fine now. Now we have the media summary, so we need just to go back to the itis component, and then we pass something in. So let's do it. Yes, media summary. So the type now it's gonna be it need to be itis. So see, this also doesn't have the suggestion name, the title, be a title, which is equal to. Okay, we need to have an async type to render it. So to wrap the whole thing. So this. Oh, doesn't work really. Async as itis. And so you have the itis object here. You can understand the type. So take itis.name See, doesn't work. Doesn't really work. It's feel like it's working, but doesn't really work. And if the button is the image here, image, image. Oh, come on. So even the input is just doesn't can just couldn't give me the right suggestion. So stop. Whatever. Okay, what do you have? Tell me. Oh, no chance. As you see why we're doing a bit longer live stream because it just doesn't work really well. So we need to do this image. Okay. Okay, so we can have the follower here. Image, and then it's going to be an array. So something, and then URL. I hope that maybe not URL, but let's check. Yeah, URL. Okay. I'll just do the simple one to take the first one. Yeah. But basically, there has different side of the itis kind of work. We can also display the spinner. Let's display the spinner as well. Let's look at how the album do. I was also forgetting. So look into album.component. Not HTML. You need to have a spinner. Okay. So there's the track loading. Oh, it is not something we wanted to. Actually, we can use it, but okay, we can use it. The track loading is probably the same for album, and because we are going to use the same component, so it's going to be look very similar. So let's do it then. Let's see the album loading. What does it do? What is the next thing? Oh, so we just set the min height so that it will not collapse. Yeah, okay. Should we do it? Okay then. Okay, thing. We might not need the album print. Okay, the copy, just remove that first. And the track loading is not understanding, so we need to has this is itis loading. Okay, and you need to assign it here. Oh, come on. So many errors with VS Code. It is loading. Okay, bring it back. That's weird. Oh, when I started, it just doesn't understand, and I need to bring it back to the bottom, and then now it's understand. So okay, so the it is loading here is fine now. Still doesn't get any suggestion at all. But we need to take this check loading into the consideration. So um, let's say the check loading. Okay, we need to find it first. Modify track loading. Okay, the one we export track loading module, which is one we are expecting. We import the track loading module. Okay, the arrow go away, and then we just don't do the title. Actually, what does it do? Over time title. Track is loading. What does it do? Oh, so there's a title. There's a avatar. Oh, there's a row. Okay. We don't need this thing actually. The row here is technically we don't need. Row is equal 5. We just do zero then, because we only display the. Let's see how does it look. I never tested before. Row. Fine. Okay. So in the album, now I think we need to run it. It is time to run because that's how I write code. So you just keep writing the code, and then at the end you just see the UI. So to see if it work first how. I mean, front end to work first how is very difficult, but you get the idea, and you can just try it. So track loading. Yeah, the album we can do the title because just close it. Wait, no. When you click into one, it shows the whole thing. Okay, let me do it slow. Okay, let's make it slow a bit, slow, and then go to bottom, and then just some careful it. Click album. You click. Hey, why? Very fast. Even slow 3G. Wow, Spotify API was really fast. Um, see, so that's the first one is the so the row was like something like the row was like this 5 line, and we don't really need it for the album. So we just display this and the title. Wow, all of that is cache. See, maybe we can do display the first line. Okay, maybe row is equal one. It's good. But we just do row equal one. Okay, now is the time to check if we do it first time or not first time. Click into the localhost. Okay, let's zoom in a bit. So if I click into, let's do port flops, inspected, see, kind of work. Uh, so now there's a itis, there's a cover, but then there a bit of space that we don't need at the end. So what we can do is like, let's see, maybe there's empty space. Oh, oh, is this flex? No, it's just flex, so not grid. So we can say the last one here. If there's nothing, we can just don't show it. Hmm. Okay. Or if you wanted to display different thing because actually for the album we have how many line, but for the itis we wanted to display like how many follow, right? Let me see how to do it. Because if we pack everything inside this component, it's gonna be so big. Yeah, it's very important. Let's track out the slide count. So you track out the slide count. We can always display like follower count, but this one is going to be big eventually. And so if there's a text small, it's phone both. Okay, so if there's itis and we display it. Okay, this one also we need to do ng if. But now we don't pressing the ng if anymore. So okay, do the easiest way. We just try to pass too many input and we will do the improvement on the next live stream. I have something in mind to tell you about it, but how? You do it. That's good. Do another input then. And then do the follower count, which is either a number or either an undefined. Okay. Sorry, I still not very get into the keyboard. So go back to the itis. Now we can just passing in the follower count. See, it doesn't work. Go to itis. When you don't have all of this suggestion, it's like it's like you go back to like 4 years ago, where it's nothing. Itis dot, itis dot. Lower left, left. I will need to see the how it's look on the data side. It's quite annoying sometimes, but what to do? Look into this object full. There's a follower, which is which is an object. Oh, and total. Yeah, okay, we take the total out. It's still the length. So it's not an array. We take the total out. Okay. I mean, obviously it's gonna be not nullable, but okay. You can just assume that Spotify API is gonna work. So go back to the post rock, inspirited. Oh, okay. So now we have it's not a song. Okay, it's not okay. It is the it's not a song. So we need to change the name of the media summary. Okay, so we need to change it to follower. It's oh okay. I see. I think I know what does it say. So for the itis, actually we wanted to display it with similar style here. But yeah, I think that's fine for now. So you I click. There's the yeah. I know how many follower, which is quite similar to what you see here. Oh, okay, so the follower is not the same as the monthly listener. Hmm. But I'm not sure that we have this info. Let's see on the data. Network. This no not that. So we need to go back to post rock to inspirative. Eh? Oh this. Oh, okay, sorry. I was filtering this this one. This is the follower, which is how many? There's John. There's a South agent. Post rock. Actually, this one is interesting to display. Maybe we can display it. There's a Thai rock, and there's an image. Yeah, there's no follower like the real monthly listener here. So yeah, we can just keep it. And the next one is to like just build the top track, and I think we can save it for next week because now it's more than an hour. So let's spend some time on the weekend, you guys, to go out and enjoy it a bit instead of sitting here with me. So thank you so much for joining, and I hope you learned something from the live stream today. And I will commit the code, and then I will just link it to the live stream so that people can look into it. And with that, yeah, I think that's all for today. Uh, Thanks everyone for spending your weekend joining live stream with Angular Singapore. And for the upcoming event, feel free to go to twitter.com/@. I just want to do some promotion. Lab, and you can always use this Calendly link on the first post to the pin tweet. You can use it, and if you have any problem, you can always book the meeting with me. So feel free to do it. If you are struggling, you have any concern, any you wanted to have some advice, I'm here to help. And yeah, with that, I will see you guys next week. We will continue building the second part of the itis, and then we will have a special guest joining next week. So will not be only me talking anymore. So I hope it's going to be make some different to the last stream. And thank you, and see you next week.